Hello. In this art drawing session, just want to talk a little bit about life, reflect on the nature of what it means to be open, to let things in, to flow with life, to be calm and relaxed, and try and see things clearly, as opposed to just rushing things or giving in to what we might believe when we're stressed or fearful or super anxious. In life, we have to be willing and able to receive. There's no two ways about it. No matter how masterful we are, no matter how skilled, no matter how powerful we might feel that we are, you can't live without everything outside of you, too. There's all this in life that there is to connect with. And even what we express sometimes, it's something that we could say is from us, but it's also from what we feel in response to everything around us. And that's not a bad thing. It can be humbling, yes, but we don't want to be arrogant either. We don't want to have huge egos, because to have a huge ego is to be stuck inside yourself. You may feel self-righteous, you may feel very powerful, very strong, very justified in what you're doing, whatever it is. But where are you able to connect? Where are you able to be with other people? How are you able to share yourself and be vulnerable? Because yeah, you can share yourself from a place of protection, like you're behind a wall and you only show what you can to others, that no matter what they say about, no matter how they respond, you won't get hurt. It won't hurt your feelings, it won't touch you. But that same idea of that we won't be touched, in the sense of we won't have pain inflicted upon us, the same thing goes for not being touched in an emotional sense. The preciousness of something won't touch us as easily either. We're cut off from that. We're blocking it. And without that, we're not able to reach the world. We're not able to let it in and have that creative response, that creative dance with life itself. As I was talking about with that, we need life. We need everything outside of us and the feelings and the responses from it in order to create. It's not an isolated thing, living. We don't want to just be some great, renowned figure all on our own, because life's more than the story that we create about ourselves or that others create about us. What is living, exactly? In the moment, we can think about who we are in terms of a story, but that's not really accurate. That's just a kind of a mental pastime, a habit of the mind that connects to a script, basically, a way that we want to write and play and portray ourselves, a way we want to be seen. But regardless of how closely that script describes us, no matter how many details, no matter how sensitive it is to what kinds of experiences we have and what we feel, what we fear, what we do is like one of the most basic ones. It isn't equal, and it can't replace our actual experience of life. when we're remembering something, when we're writing a story about ourselves, when we are feeling deeply, when we're observing, when we're in the zone, or distracted, or kind of just floating along. These are all different states of being that we can be in. And ultimately, this is what we're living in. So when it comes to a question of quality of life, you can have a quality script, a quality description of who you are and who you would like to be, and lay it all out in perfect definition. But how is the quality of your life right now, in the moment? Not the quality of your story about who you are right now in life, but who you are sitting here, or wherever you are, sitting, standing, walking, listening to this. And what kind of states do you get in, too? These states constitute where you're living your life, and the dynamics of how those states change, and what sorts of thoughts you have, what sorts of feelings, emotions you feel, what you go through on that level, on the inside, in terms of your raw experience. That is your life, in a far more intimate way than you could ever describe it in some sequential, chronological order, as something that exists within the day-to-day, within the calendar year, or anything like that. You're much more than your accomplishments, than what you have done. But regardless, if we're going to shift the focus from our ego and how we look at ourselves in a definitional way, in a mental way, over to our states and how we are moment to moment on the inside, and the way that shifts, evolves, grows, and is, then you have to think about, well, where would I like to be? How would I like to be? What feels right? What do I need? What can I go for on that level? And while it can be much harder to strive for an internal goal like that, because there's always going to be obstacles in the moment, things in your perspective that look at things in a way that are damaging to you, that hurt you in the moment, that cause pain. There are beliefs that you might hold that could limit you, that could point you in a direction that is not what you would naturally want for yourself, and not what would feel good. You can still, despite those obstacles, ask yourself what you need, and you can listen for the responses. You can listen to your heart, to your feelings, or even to what comes up in your mind, what intense or painful things come up and object, perhaps very loudly. Ultimately, though, you come back to the question of, what do I need? How would I feel good? What would bring me some sense of wholeness, or balance, or peace? And one of those things is simply calm. Calm, often, for the ego, is an extremely treacherous state. When you're calm, you're also passive. You're not creating things, you're not developing things, you're not making quote-unquote strides in your life. You're not changing, at least not actively. But when you're calm, you're also not in pain. You're also not afraid. You're not running away from anything. You're able to receive what's around you. And being able to receive it not only can you parse through the information because you've received it, but because you are calm, you can also do so patiently. Now, what does it take to do something patiently? Well, part of it is detachment. You can't get too caught up ever in getting to a particular goal, to getting to a particular aim. You have to be willing to explore things as they are. Not rushing anything, but obeying and observing the natural process as it develops inside you, as it flows from one thing to another. In one moment, you're feeling out what your needs are for this moment. In the next, you're carefully observing the qualities of your emotions within your internal space. You're considering what each needs. Maybe there's a cry for help in a distant corner of yourself. Maybe there's laziness or apathy that just would be much more excited if you went in a different direction. Maybe there's anger, a sense of injustice, that we aren't doing what we like, that you aren't making strides, aren't making progress. And maybe you need to figure out with it what would be most important, and what's a way to get its needs met along with yours. But this is what I mean by the process that flows and moves as it goes. But you have to do so patiently. You don't know what the outcome will be once you listen to all of your needs, for instance. But you can make sure, for each bit of impatience that you feel, you can step outside of it, detach yourself from what it wants. Not wholly you, it as a part. And consider, well, where is this part of me wanting to go so badly and so fast? And one of the tricks that I've found is, particularly for impatience, you want to ask those parts, well, what do you get after you get to what you want? Once you have your desires, once things are set up exactly as you like, what happens next? And sometimes it will be a very revealing answer, like, well, then I just kick back and relax. Or, I guess I wouldn't do anything then, I'd just sleep, maybe. And it's revealing because it can show you that what you're actually needing is not the activity, is not putting yourself into your goal super ferociously, but to take a break, to take some rest, to recuperate, maybe to reflect, maybe to let go, and bring yourself back to that more easygoing place. Because even those feelings that seem very simple-minded or like they don't know what they're talking about, they can be feeling pains that you're not recognizing. And it's important to. But all of this is to say that calmness, which involves being patient, involves being open, relaxed, that this state of being allows for you to not only connect with yourself, with the world, with your inner world, but also it allows for you to more correctly perceive what you want, and what's happening, and what's real. When we're all caught up in a rush to get somewhere, when we're tense, when we're fraught with fear, it's easy to lose sight of what's actually impactful in our lives and what we want. After all, to know what would actually bring impact to us and bring us to a place of realization about what is real. We can't be hurrying ourselves with bias, with attachment to things being this way or that. We have to let go of the way we think things are in order to discover and uncover the way things actually are. And this ultimately is the power of being calm. It allows you to see the truth. It allows you to move towards the truth and give yourself a fair shot at realizing what's there, as opposed to tension and fear, which tell you stories about what's real, but ultimately leave you bereft of the kind of state that you need to feel good and feel whole. So, regardless, I guess I'll leave you with simply the message or the hope that you'll take the time to remember to be open so you can connect with others, with the world, with yourself, as well as to give yourself the space to be calm so you can know yourself better, know what's true, and grow. Give yourself that healthy ground to stand on and to start evolving your understanding from. If you're being rushed, if you're not giving yourself the chance to let your curiosity, your natural curiosity, blossom, it's going to be much harder on you. And it can hurt. So, all that said, make sure to take care of yourself. And remember to listen to your inner world, to consider it, and to keep knowing who you are on that level of a lack of ego and your moment-to-moment existence. And I hope you enjoyed the speed painting process in the background. This piece was very fun to make. It took about 2 hours and 15 minutes. It's my first time trying out a speed painting video. So I hope you enjoyed this and the music, as well as this talk. Take care.